Wave your hand. There is too much to gain. I want to sing it again. To Lord, too many miles behind me. No matter what you go through, too many trials are true. I said too many tears help me to remember, but there is too much to give to Lord. Do so. Set up cross the hard burning desert. Sometimes I struggle. The right road to choose. Oh you do. But somewhere over there, there is cool, clear water, and the sea is one word. Emancipation Park, how you do? I said to many sons, life beyond the mountain. I said to many rivers, my feet I walk through. I said to we have done. Away over yonder. Oh, there is too much. Across the hard burning desert. Sometimes say you struggle the right road to choose. I said somewhere over there there is cool, clear water, and the sea is what. Come on, we have the one. I don't know. Look for your name now. He laid his hands on me. He laid his hands on me. Christ laid his hands on me. Over 2,000 years Jesus went and died on the cross. Up on the cross, he died up on the cross. He died up on the cross. Sign up me name. We have that. Jesus to stand me well. You stand me well. Through the storm, but it seemed like forever. One minute tonight, for your night of confusion, we're and been on so long. Can I testify? For your ship has lost anchor. Everybody, for this storm got you gypsy. Everybody do so, everybody, for your night almost over. Tell me something, he can ride over. Everybody, say I beg you, me Jesus. Hold on to Jesus. He can ride out your storm. No matter what the storm cloudy, no matter what the persecution you bear, but hold on to Jesus. He can ride out your storm. I say, hold on to Jesus. Hold on to him tonight. Hold on to him tonight. He can ride out your. I said, don't give up tonight.
Oh God, stand there. I want to know. Bound for the better land.
What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and grace to bear. What a privilege to carry everything No bother carry, do no bother carry your souls well. 'Cause if you love go to church and not live no life, you will suffer like diabetes. Hey, sinner man, do no bother carry, do no bother carry your souls well. If you're not go to church and not accept Christ, you will suffer like diabetes. Hey, preacher man, do no bother carry, do no bother carry your souls well. 'Cause if you preach like Paul and not live the word, you will suffer like diabetes. Jesus on the telephone, tell him what you need. Jesus on the telephone, tell him what you need. Jesus on the telephone, tell him what you need. For you. Someone silver and someone gold, but I want Jesus way down in my soul. Hey! Jesus on the telephone, tell him what you need. Jesus on the telephone, tell him what you need. Tell him, 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 someone silver and someone gold, but I want Jesus way down in my soul. Hey, tell him, 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 someone silver and someone gold, but I want Jesus way down in my soul. Tell him, tell him, tell him.
And good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Pity Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, wherever you are locally, regionally, internationally. We say a special good night to you from the studios of Talking Points. Indeed, we hope that you have been having a wonderful day today and that you continue to have a wonderful night tonight and an excellent, wonderful, splendiferous week this week, yeah? My name is Sheldon Scott, and I will be here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour, starting a bit later than normal right now. Saying a special good night to all of you joining us via the various mediums. Hope that you all have been having a wonderful night thus far. Those of you joining us on the YouTube, yeah, due to the late start there, we can't really go through the numbers, the names as we usually go through. And those of you joining us via the Facebook, we say a special good night to each and every one of you as well. A good night to those of you joining us. Yes, a good night to those of you joining us via 91.9, 91.5 Real FM. Those of you joining us via We FM, not We FM, Lord. We Noise Radio. We into the stage where we could be on We FM. You know, we into that stage yet.
Just repent and be baptized. There is a home, no golden city, right mansion awaiting in the sky. Oh, you can enter the golden city. Yeah, just repent and be. There is a home, no golden city, shine away, shine away.
So once again, a special good night to all of you joining us. Trying to figure out why my video looking kind of not the way I want it to look. it's too late for us to address that. No, we're going to have to fix that afterwards. Yeah, I can't do anything about it now. It's looking okay on my machine here, but then when I look at the broadcast, it looks kind of fuzzy. Eh? Yeah. I hope all of you are hearing me clearly. I hope that is okay. You know, when I have to set up again, I have to break down and then set up again what has happened. Yeah, just making sure you all are hearing me okay. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Talking Points is on. I've got a lot to discuss tonight. I've got a lot to play tonight. I've got a lot to say tonight. And let me pretty early up thank those of you that passed by Cami and dropped the little 10, dropped the little 20 and that sort of thing. Just note, anytime I drop the 10, or I drop the 20, or I drop the $5 by Cami, I get a phone call. By the time all you leave, I get a phone call that says it's there. Yeah, I don't want nobody feeling that you're dropping it there and maybe I'm getting it or I'm not getting it. Day. Nice. Just want to say that early up, eh? Nice. Helen Marie and Associates, good night to you. It's been an interesting weekend, yeah? West Indies cricket in Grenada. Of course, not the result we would like to have had attached to our cricket stadium, especially for the first major match to take place there after the refurbishment has been completed.
I want to go to heaven and rest. I'm tired of staying down here. My God, I want.
At the end of the day, we West Indians, a lot has to be done in relation to the cricket. I ain't gonna get into the cricket discussion. There's a show. In fact, there's not a show in it. There's a series for yourself if you had to correct West Indies cricket, what needs to be done. I ain't no expert, nah. For that, I'd have to invite Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell onto the show. Yeah.
I want to go to heaven. I'm tired of staying down here.
And as I said that, good night to you, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Hope that you're having a fabulous night tonight, sir. And let's say a special good night to our political leader, the Honorable Emlyn Pear. Don't think she's back from the UK yet. No, she's doing a parliamentary training there. Herself, the Honorable Kate Lewis Peters. And I believe a couple of senators, I think Senator Rahman and another senator, I can't remember exactly which one of the other senators. But they're out in the UK doing a parliamentary training in relation to the operations of the Public Accounts Committee. And as you know, the Public Accounts Committee is very important because all of government spending is reviewed by the Public Accounts Committee. But don't let government fool you, because as it is right now, they're giving the impression that everything they spend, there's transparency and it goes through government. What they're spending now may not go through the Public Accounts Committee for the next 2 years, for the next 3 years. They don't give you immediate things and say, well, this is, no, sometimes the accounts you're getting in 2025, the accounts from back in 2020, 2021, 2020, so there's all sorts of things take place there, yeah? If you ask me, probably there needs to be some adjustment in relation to the speed. I know that as the head of the Public Accounts Committee at the time, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, had requested specific information. I unclipped that information never came to him. This government speaks about transparency, but when you're asking for information, Dr. Mitchell has filed over 60 questions before the Parliament between 2022 and now. You take a guess as to how many of them have actually been answered.
Just remember, let's go to church. Listen, when the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, yes, I like to be in that number. Yeah, when the saints go marching, go to church. When the saints
And again, we see the situation with the folks up there in Clozier, yeah. Yeah, and we do feel upset for the folks out there in Clozier. It's been a bad, yeah, that's a bad one, yeah. So for those of you that know the Clozier area, Clozier is basically the road that cuts through the center of the island. You could pass through that road, yeah, and you're able to cut through the center of the island. Now, the part of the road in Clozier that has collapsed due to some work that has been taking place there, and the road has collapsed, so it is no longer passable. So for the folks in Clozier, even if they have to go to St. John, these folks either have to come down to just before the collapse, where they would have to walk through the area that has collapsed, and then get a transport on the other side, or continue walking from on the other side till they get to St. John. Or the other option for folks who have to go to town and so on is now they have to go to Grenville. So they have to basically, instead of coming down, they have to go across, go over to St. Andrew, and then head across the Granitang down to town. Yeah, that is the situation with the folks there in Clozier right now. And I mean, I'm speaking about a situation like, yeah, this is just a picture of part of the collapse that has taken place. It's a lot worse than that. Yeah, this is just a picture of part of the collapse that has taken place in relation to that Clozier road. Yeah. I think this may give a better indication of what has happened to that area. Yeah, this may give a better indication of what has taken place there, the collapse of that road, the project that's taking place there. And I'm going to play for you in a short while the MP for St. John and her statements in relation to that project. They were putting down this, apparently putting down this wall there, and the entire thing came down. It collapsed. And the truth is, over the past few weeks, I've been hearing from friends of mine who frequent that area that this was imminent, that the road would collapse. They were warning me, they were saying, Sheldon, the state of that road, it's very, very bad. And in fact, it's endangering lives. That it was a situation that ought to have been dealt with and dealt with quickly, because it was endangering people's property, it was endangering the lives of individuals who traverse that area. And this is just another view of it, with one person's property is in danger there. As we can see, there are cracks, the front of the place gone. That's it for that. That part has gone. And we can see our water mains running through there for what it's worth. And we're seeing different aspects of what is taking place there. So now that road is impassable. You cannot pass in that particular area. And I'm going to play something, as I said, from the MP from St. John in a short while, because, you know, we like to analyze what these individuals are saying. Because as I said on Friday night's program, it seems to always be a case that someone else is to blame and never them. Yeah? Someone else always has to be, oh, it's this person's blame, or it's the former administration's blame, or it's this entity's blame, or that entity's blame. And we see the cracks there on the people's property. Imagine you have your house there, and all of these cracks outside of what has collapsed there already. You're seeing all these cracks on your property. Yeah, all alongside your building and so on. I could imagine what the folks, if anybody's occupying that place, that is, I could imagine what they are going through. In fact, they can't stay there. I would think it very, very unwise if anyone is still staying in that building at this point in time. So yeah, this is what has taken place there. So the road is no longer passable. In fact, I saw a release from the Ministry of Works and the Royal Grenada Police Force that the road is temporarily closed. I don't know what kind of temporary is that road. That road, yeah, well, okay, they said temporary, but they said the road is temporarily closed, like if it closed for a week or two or whatever, but this is the situation up there in Clozier. And in my view, even if they were to dig into the hillside there and say, well, we're making some road to pass through that side there, it's still dangerous because the road continues to collapse in that area. I really feel it for the property owner there, believe me. I could imagine what they are going through at this point in time. I could really, really feel it for the property owner there. But again, folks, just giving you an idea of what is taking place in the Clozier. I just pulled this off online. I can't remember the profile so that I can give credit for the video, but I pulled it off the Facebook over the weekend when the news started to circulate of the collapse of that road in Clozier. And remember, that is a very important road as well during the tourist season, because that is a road that some of the tour companies use. They go up to St. John, they go to the nutmeg factory, etc. They may go to Concord Waterfall and they go across. Yeah, they go across to St. Andrew sometimes through that area. The road at this point in time does not exist. Yeah, at this point in time, that road does not exist. But let me see if I can find the MP for St. John and her statements in relation to the situation with the Clozier road. Yeah, let's hear what she has to say.
On the southern part of the constituency, as well as Munger Road. So we've been able to tackle them, and there are large projects. There are over 500,000 EC dollars. Some of them bordering close to millions of EC dollars to rectify and to rehabilitate, and we're taking them one at a time. So we have been able to address the situation with Clozier. That was a failed or an old culvert system that was there, and the road was eventually eroded and has started eroding drastically before the intervention. And so we've been able to get the approval for works to commence through the Ministry of Infrastructure on that project. And since we have started on the project, for those persons who know Clozier is a wet area. Forgive me if I don't use the technical terminology, but there's always water. The soil is always moist up there. There are natural streams that flows all over. Some are at the surface, others are on the ground. And it's only when you realize or you do the investigation or works commence, you will see that, okay, there is a water source, there is some live channel of water running through. And so the contractors that have been awarded that contract for that project has been faced with that challenge from day one. From day one, in terms of trying to locate where the channels of water is running through, and they've been able to expedite work and to work successfully over the last few months. Unfortunately, at around Corpus Christi time, that was the holiday, sometime in June, they realized that what they would have already backfilled and started laying the foundational works for to building the retaining wall there is a large, massive body of water that was flowing through, and then they realized that it was not a natural stream. It was not a stream that was flowing. It was actually a bust pipe that they were not able to identify before the project commenced. So they would have mapped out all of the Nawasa piping before, and that one, however, was not one that any of the staffing from the Nawasa end knew existed, and that of the contractors and his team not knowing that existed as well. So they've been having to, since then, they've been having to try to deal with that subsurface water ingress. And they have dealt with it successfully during that time up until now, coupled with the rain, coupled with having even much more water. When they're thinking that they have it under control, they do not have it under control. So the land continues to slip there, and eventually the first half of the road that was already built, that was stable and strong, and then if you go back to my Facebook profile, you would see the pictures there that we were literally walking on that area. Vehicles were passing on that area. In my non-professional or expert opinion.
Yeah, well, we want your non-professional or expert opinion because you ain't have that. Right? Yeah. So, folks, again, the very same thing that I've been speaking about on Friday night's program is what is being done there. The blame for what has taken place is being placed firmly at the feet of Nawasa. Now, some things were very surprising to me there when the MP is speaking, which gives me an indication of how this administration is doing different projects. One, if you are doing a major infrastructural project, as far as I know, if you're going to be doing a road, especially a major artery like that, that is the only road that cuts across the center of the island. I don't know, any one of you know of a second road like that you could come from the east coast over to the west coast? Let me know. But as far as I know, that's the only road that cuts across the center of the island. You could go from the west to the east to the west. Now, here it is, you're going to do some work on that particular road. You're telling me that the surveyors from the Ministry of Works or even from the Ministry of Lands did not do a proper topography study of the area, especially since the MP is saying they know that Clozier is an area that has a lot of underground water. That's basically what you would say, aquifers and that sort of thing. They've got a lot of underground water. So there are areas where you have water flowing under maybe the road or buildings or different things like that. So you're going to do this project. You're telling me that you did not do a proper assessment before. Now you place the blame on Nawasa. So they're telling us, this is what this MP is telling us now, that Nawasa, the National Water and Sewerage Authority, went to the area and didn't know that they had a pipe that was carrying water. So in other words, this is a pipe, not an empty pipe, not a pipe that don't have water in it. Nawasa, according to this MP, does not know that they have a main pipeline running underground in that area with water in it. Nawasa just forgetting there are pipes with water all over the place now. That is the stage we reached to. No proper assessment was done. And then, if you listen again, the MP is speaking to the contractors as the one that have to know. The contractors are supposed to be given the scope of work by the ministry. The ministry is supposed to say, this is what we want you to do. These are the challenges that you will incur if you go there. It ought not to be a situation that the contractors go and then the contractors find out, hey, it's underground water here. Hey, it's pipes running here that bust. Hey, you're finding it. Hey, you're finding that. Because what that would do is increase cost. If a proper assessment is done before a contract is awarded, as it's supposed to take place in any decent ministry, but you know, it's all kind of, I don't know what they're running there right now, they call in ministries. But what you are supposed to do is do a proper assessment of the scope of work beforehand. A proper assessment. Yeah, whether you have to bring in environmentalists, according to the project it is, you may have to bring in environmentalists like Ms. Jessamy or whoever to do an environmental impact assessment. You bring in NOASA, yes, NOASA is supposed to check and find out we have pipes here, there, the other. And then the ministry, be it the Ministry of Works or whoever is supposed to come in, because they would have a topography study of the area. So they know it's this type of soil, there are supposed to be streams running in this area, etc., etc., etc. Or there are aquifers running here, that sort of thing. It is obvious this was not done in this situation, which is why you kept having delays in relation to this, because they keep bouncing up things that they never knew were there. That if they had done the job properly, if they had done a proper assessment beforehand, if they had gone through the proper procedure and process, they never would have ended up with all of the delays that they've been having and all of the problems that they're having right now. But they did not do that. Because once again, it's just doing things and taking pictures. Oh, go and check my Facebook, you go see we was walking on that area. Who the hell care if you was walking on that area? What we care about now is that the people in Clozier, that they will be able to get down from there easily. And then the MP is talking about there's no alternative road, MP, you lie. I was talking about the people are using some alternative road, some back road to get down to town. I want them show me where that back road is. Somebody in Clozier listening tonight, all you send me a message and let me know where that back road is now, because I never hear about that back road to get from Clozier down to Guave. It have a back road that all you could pass. And they didn't send all you through that back road and block that road to do the work quicker and faster. Seriously, because I heard us speaking in that interview about the folks are utilizing another road, some back road or some kind of thing like that. I find that to be most amusing. Yeah, oh gosh, why is now you have to do that? Yeah, our phone line has gone down. Yeah, I'm going to sort it out in a little while though. Yeah, our phone line has done what it does from time to time. It has gone down on us, but I'll get it sorted out in a little while. Yeah, so I'm trying to find out here, what is she really talking about? Before you do the job, you can't just go and build a road and say, give a contractor how much, $100,000, and say, go and build a road. There has to be an assessment of the area. Are you going to fix the road because there is water running there and it's mashing up the foundation, and that is why the road is in the state it is? Is it a case where the hillside is loose and it's going to come down? You realize that they're not doing these sort of things. They're sending the people, and then they're trying to place the blame on people. So whether it's the explosion in Telescope that they're trying to place on gravel and concrete, or whether it is the collapse of the Clozier Road that they're trying to place on NOASA, for them statutory bodies, and the leadership. This is what they're doing, always trying to take themselves and their incompetence out of the equation. And we cannot allow that to continue to happen. Yeah, we have to call them out on their incompetence, because that's just what it is. No if, what, or but about it. It is incompetence. And we have to call it out for what we see. All right, folks, we have to call it out for what it is. It is incompetence. And folks, I'm trying to sort out the phone line, because I know some of you most likely may be trying to call, and so I'm trying to sort out the phone line. Give me one moment while it cuts off every now and again, and then I have to reset it. So let me just reset that so that you all can get through. And I'm not sure why now the audio is not coming through now. What's the matter here tonight? Why does this thing behaving like this tonight? Yeah? Yeah, and I'm not sure what is taking place now. When I need it to play, it's not playing.
Bells are ringing.
so I'm just trying to get the phone line up and running so that you all can make your calls.
So the Holy Ghost is moving.
It was on when we started and then it just cut off. So just making sure we get it back up and running.
Zion children is ready. This battle is not yours. It belongs to God.
So someone is saying that their husband told them that there was a back road from Florida, but that road has been closed over 60 years now. Well, it was way older than me.
Why won't you take it to the Lord in prayer, man?
Cynthia out there in Baltimore, good night to you. Mr. Telesford, I know you're locked in. Yeah, Kathy told me. Good night to you.
Take it to the Lord in prayer, man. Take it to the Lord in prayer, man.
So I'm trying to figure out how do you do a project like that without first ensuring that you do your soil testing, that you make sure you know where all the pipelines are. How could the pipeline that carrying water, Nawasa don't know where that one is? I'm really trying to so Nawasa have pipeline all over that carrying water that nobody using then. Because if it is a pipeline that's carrying water that people are utilizing, we expect that Nawasa would know that, hey, this pipeline is there, that pipeline has to be shifted, that pipeline has to be moved, etc. So I ain't buying that one. Seriously, I ain't buying that one. I believe all your lie. You telling me a pipeline with water, Nawasa don't know the pipeline there? Joke all you're making, man. No, me all you telling that. Not talking points, people all you telling that. All you telling that to somebody else. Can't be us all you telling that too, no?
Take it to the Lord in prayer, man. 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 Put down for you to the Lord in prayer, man. Just some mercy to the Lord in prayer, man. God to Jesus, the Lord in prayer, man. God to Jesus, the Lord in prayer, man.
Well, as Wendy is saying, you can't pay for crab and expect to get lobster.
The church is ready. Strongholds are breaking.
Yes, it's very interesting because how you're telling me you now know it have a pipeline there? Nawasa came. And that's the bad part, they say, not that Nawasa didn't come, they say Nawasa came and Nawasa didn't know they have a pipe that running water passing there. So the contractor find out afterwards while doing the work there. Yeah, one of the many delays that has taken place with that project.
The Holy Ghost is moving. Sheldon's on me. Zion children is ready. This battle is not yours. It belongs to God.
So as I said, folks, just trying to get that line sorted out for you all, yeah.
When I kneel down to pray.
Just taking a little long, yeah.
When I kneel down to pray, heaven came down and my soul is away. When I kneel down to pray, when I kneel down to pray.
And I don't want you all to take my word for things. I want you all, let me see if I could bring it from about here. Yeah, I want you all to listen to the MP for yourself.
Of infrastructure on that project. And since we have started on the project, for those persons who know Clozier is a wet area. Forgive me if I don't use the technical terminology, but there's always water. The soil is always moist up there. There are natural streams that flows all over. Some are at the surface, others are on the ground. And it's only when you realize or you do the investigation or works commence, you will see that, okay, there is a water source, there is some live channel of water running through. And so the contractors that have been awarded that contract for that project has been faced with that challenge from day one. In terms of trying to locate where the channels of water is running through, and they've been able to expedite work and to work successfully over the last few months. There are unfortunately at around Corpus Christi time, that was the holiday sometime in June, they realized.
Again, remember what I'm telling you. The contractors are not supposed to be finding that out on their own. On receiving the contract, they should also be receiving these bits and pieces of information. You go in and fix a road, and you don't know what is wrong with the road. That is what I'm trying to get to here. These individuals are going to try and fix a road, and they don't know what is causing the problem with the road in the first instance. So what were they fixing?
What they would have already backfilled and started laying the foundational works for to building the retaining wall. There is a large, massive body of water that was flowing through, and then they realized that it was not a natural stream. It was not a stream that was flowing. It was actually a burst pipe that they were not able to identify before the project commenced. So they would have mapped out all of the Nawasa piping before, and that one, however, was not one that any of the staffing from the Nawasa end knew existed, and that of the contractors and his team not knowing that existed as well. So they've been having to, since then, they've been having to try to deal with that subsurface water ingress. And they have dealt with it successfully during that time up until now, coupled with the rain, coupled with having even much more water. When they're thinking that they have it under control, they do not have it under control. So the land continues to slip there, and eventually the first half of the road that was already built, that was stable and strong, and then if you go back to my Facebook profile, you would see the pictures there that we were literally walking on that area. Vehicles were passing on that area. In my non-professional or expert opinion, I believe that that road should have been closed off permanently since work has commenced, because if you're building on something that is quote unquote slightly unstable or unstable altogether due to having water issues, you cannot have extra weight passing on the road that you're trying to build, because you have to get it on that manageable condition. So I believe that road should have been closed off altogether from the inception, to allow the team to expedite work one and move fast. That is something to projects of that nature. You have to move fast.
Yep.
You must. You can't. Well, it's not an 8 to 4. It is not. It's not a Monday to Friday work. You have to move fast with these things.
Absolutely. Minister, just give me half a second. Let me.
Yeah, no, I ain't getting you half a second. No, I'm not here. You could take your half a second some other place and thing. Because absolute unequivocal nonsense. That is what taking place there. Yeah? Nonsense. That is what they're talking there. Yeah? There is no situation that you're supposed to go and do that, and then while you're doing it, you're finding out what the problem with the land is there. Whether it's lands and surveys, who have a good idea of the types of soil and different areas that have different issues and so on. And especially for an area like Clozier, yeah, where I think it's at a time a spring had burst out in the middle of the playing field and all. I think at a time at the side of the playing field, a spring had burst out there one time. Yeah, so that you're supposed to do a proper assessment before you go on and do these sort of things. But when you have MPs that has talked them kind of...
Given the support, I would say, from Nawasa, they have been on point. The Ministry of Infrastructure team have been there giving the support and necessary support for them to ensure that work can be expedited and they can have the buffers and the barriers in place to ensure that this project is successfully completed. I think as of yesterday, there have been a temporary closure of the road now, so the traffic has now been diverted into another back road for persons to come.
Somebody in Clozier, message me until I open the phone line. Message me and let me know where that back road is. I don't know it, so maybe one of you all could tell me exactly where that back road is in case anybody have an emergency and they're up that side. So let me know where the back road is.
goes to show the bigger picture that, when you elect representatives, you have to ensure that they are aware that if you do not fix key infrastructure, road networks, and road access, these are the results of what neglect can look like. It can cause us.
These are the results of what incompetence can look like.
To be very close, 10 minutes, 5 minutes away from each other, but it can take us hours to get to point A to point B because of failed ideas, because of failed networks or failed plans.
Yeah, about one of the only sensible things that you say there. Yes, indeed, folks. So yeah, that's that's the situation with Clozier, and that is the situation with the folks up there in Clozier. Let me just go to the comments here. I ain't repeating that one, right? I can't repeat that comment either. Okay. Some all your comments I can't repeat it on air. All you so man, all you like to do me that for. Some of them comments I can't say them. Oh boy. I don't think Nwasa is that incompetent. Blame game is on. Well, that's what we've been saying. These individuals never take the blame for anything. They never take the blame for anything. Yeah? Okay, now I can't repeat that one. I can't repeat that one either. Yeah, Fadu, fabrication of terminological inexactitudes. Nawasa lost millions of gallons of water. That's Chris London is saying there. That, yeah, if that is the situation, Nawasa may have lost millions of gallons of water there in a situation like that, where you have basically you have that situation where the road network, the water was burst under there and has been leaking and so on, because she said they found a big thing under there. That is a problem. Yeah? So, folks, it is 9 o'clock already, and I don't know what to do before 9. I'm fighting up with it, but it's just refusing to work for me tonight. So I'm just going to go quickly to the other issue. No, we ain't finished with Clozier. We're coming back to Clozier too. But I just wanted to speak on another issue as well. Over the weekend, we started seeing photos, well, yesterday, in fact, we started seeing photos like this one floating around of the Sargassum on our world-acclaimed Carriacou. We started seeing photos like this floating around the internet of the Sargassum into the Carriacou itself. And we also saw videos and photos of other locations. For instance, Grenada's beach, we saw this photo of the Sargassum on Grenada's beach. Yeah. Together with that, I saw quite a few photos of some of the ladies there cleaning up and so on, trying to get everything in order. Yeah. No. I'll take out your voice partners. But yeah, this is some individuals trying to clean up the beach as much as possible. I remember this is a point in time that we have many visitors to our country at this point in time here for the Australian match. Yeah, so many visitors to our country, sort of off season. Yeah, here on the island, and yeah, there's Grenada's beach. That's Grenada's beach with them trying to clear off the Sargassum. Yeah, and then you'll hear some of them saying, well, it's a Sargassum all over the Caribbean. In fact, we spoke about Sargassum probably about 4 programs for the year thus far. And I also remember that there's supposed to be boats, and I think we just saw one of the 2 boats, well, 2 of the boats there. I think we just saw them there, yeah. Look what the boats that the minister was talking about that they have, the boats that are supposed to be there to collect the Sargassum and drop it off up the road and so in, is it Perseverance? Yeah? that they're supposed to be collecting and warehousing and picking up the sargassum and all of that. So we saw the boats and everything there. But just earlier in the day, if I remember correctly, earlier in the day we had the situation where the sargassum was still out to sea, but apparently no effort was made to go and collect it and bring it in time and that sort of thing. Yeah, no effort was made to do that. So that is the situation we've ended up with, that the sargassum is now in. But let's do a reminder. Eh? Let's just do some reminders here. When it comes to the issue of sargassum, let us do some reminders. At a recent town hall, this was the minister, the same minister we were speaking about a while ago. This is the minister speaking to the issue of the sargassum.
We have been vigorously targeting both at interim and long-term planning is the sargassum management. Grenada continues to lead regional efforts and international efforts as well in addressing the environmental and economic challenges posed by sargassum influxes. So in response to the influx, ladies and gentlemen, we've been experiencing that over, and it's a seasonal thing. So over the Easter holidays, you might have seen videos, you might have seen images as well, showing that, you know, the influx started on the eastern side, and now it is in a large volume on the southern zone. And this morning, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen it, and maybe some of you might have seen it as well too on your way here, on the west side, Palmis, don't talk for the Lands Bay. So as an immediate relief, ladies and gentlemen, we have implemented our 2025 operational response plan. This is the local plan now, where we have hired 32 temporary workers, and we have deployed the Coast Guard's assets to manage the seaweed collection effectively in the Maki and Sobeys area as of March 1st, 2025. Priority has been given so far on that side to residential areas. The materials collected are taken to Telescope. In collaboration with the GTA, we are responding to the influx of sargassum.
Folks, by the way, we should remind you that according to the people up on that side, none of that was taking place at the point in time that she was speaking there. In other words, she was basically lying.
On the west coast, and so we have the Yahama boats at the Coast Guard base, and we are mobilizing, and we intend to launch and deploy the floating fence that we have and to collect the sargassum in water using trawl nets. The materials will be landed.
You're going to do what? You have nets to collect the sargassum? Really? And it got into Grenada's beach? Okay, hold on. The minister is saying here,
boats at the Coast Guard base, and we are mobilizing, and we intend to launch and deploy the floating fence that we have and to collect the sargassum.
Also, they have a floating fence, so they do have the mechanism, according to the minister here, they do have the mechanism to capture the nets, the floating fence, to capture the sargassum before it gets to the world-renowned Grand Dance Beach at a point in time that you have more visitors than usual in the off-season here in Grenada. So you had the opportunity, because I listened to this minister speaking yesterday for over an hour at the point in time that it had men and women with wheelbarrow and rake down on Grand Dance Beach trying to clean up the sargassum. And not a word was mentioned by the minister in charge of that area in relation to the sargassum. At the same time, you had the carronage full of sargassum at that point in time. The minister said not a single word. That was in the interview yesterday. Now we're hearing from her from an interview from before, and this interview, if I remember correctly, took place in April, I believe it was. April or May, this interview took place. This town hall took place, and she was speaking about the collection of the sargassum, and they have the fence and they have the net. Now we're seeing the two boats. Where's the net?
in water using trawl nets. The materials will be landed at the Grand Mall jetty and it will be taken to Perseverance landfill. Priority is given to the commercial areas as well. The trawl nets will be used to collect sargassum in water on the west coast from tomorrow.
That was tomorrow. That was sometime in April, May, sometime. Okay, we July now. So anyhow.
And we are going to be landing at the Guave jetty, and it will be taken to Perseverance. The boats will be returned to the Coast Guard base at the end of each working day as a matter of security. So in the interim, we are dealing with it at the local level. Obviously, you cannot really, there's no means of predicting it really where it would go, because the tidal, the wave and all kind of thing, we just can't predict where you're gonna go. But we are trying our utmost to deal with it. So minus the noise and just focus.
Oh, the noise. Okay, the noise. Okay. Yeah. It's like you can't say anything in this country because by the time you speak, it is noise. That is what is considered as noise. So they said they have the nets. They're not saying that the nets are coming and so as far as we're hearing, the same as the Prime Minister saying they have the bridges, we're hearing from this MP that they have the nets. Now we've seen the boats. We could say we see the boats, isn't it? But we have not seen, what we have not seen is the proper collection, because Grandad's Beach, just around 6 o'clock yesterday. Let me give all you a little view. Grandad's Beach, just about 6 o'clock yesterday, was looking like this. Yeah, this was Grandad's Beach just after 6 yesterday. Let me pause it here. If you look out there, that is the Sargassum. That is the seaweed out there heading in. So you have your world famous beach here. You see the man taking the early morning walk or whatever, right? Nice? Yeah. So you have your world famous beach. There is no sargassum on the beach there. None. Zero. Zilch. Zot. If there's a word like zot. There's none there. And folks, I'm just close to getting the phone line back up. So in a little while, I'll tell you when it's fully operational. Yeah. So we have the Grandad's Beach. This is after 6 a.m. This is a little after 6 a.m. yesterday morning. So no sargassum on the beach, which means you have the two boats. We've seen the boats. What we have not seen are the nets, the fence, as you call it. Coast Guard base is just behind that hill here. Coast Guard base is not miles away like it had to come from Carriacou to come down. Coast Guard base is just behind here. So in order for them boats to get there and capture that before it got to shore would be an easy task. It's not like the boats had to come from the northern part of the island or something. The boats that are there to collect this thing, they're right behind here. If you know the topography of the area, if you know Grandad's, you know that those boats are just there over like your entire Lansopine, right? Over the Coast Guard base there. So all they have to do is just round the point here and come and get the seaweed before it gets onto Grandad's Beach. Yeah? Because the beach was clear. That is just after 6 yesterday morning. No seaweed. Yeah? No seaweed. And then right after that, we see what the entire thing ended up looking like. Yeah? It was allowed to come on. It was allowed to come onto the beach. So you have the boats there. The boats arrived to pick it up now when they could have fenced it out in the water and gotten rid of it instead of it coming onto the beach. Or is it that you all really don't have a fence? That you all don't have a net? Is that the case? That you're lying to us about the nets? Because up to now, the people in St. John say they never see no thing come and land there and all kind of thing, you know. Up to now, they say they have never seen that. They ain't seen nothing come and land up there. And so, folks, I've got it now. The phone line is up and operational. Yeah, let me just make sure and unmute there. Nice. Yes, folks, I have sorted out the phone line. You can call 1473-440-7377. But remember, no direct calls. You can only call via WhatsApp. So you can call us, but only via WhatsApp. Okay, so 1473. All right, and someone is calling one time. Let's take that call. Hello, good night.
Testing.
Yeah, man, you working, man. You working. Once I get
Still
thing back there, you good to go. What's up, bro?
Well done, brother. You good?
I can't go and swim.
No, yeah, I agree with you, man.
I can't go and swim. I ain't going and
You know,
swim.
I always prefer fresh water, but I know.
I don't know what the seaweed bringing with it. I can't go and swim in that. So
True that. But let me start off by just saying that female line, bro. Playing talk bad manners. Alright, so a couple episodes ago, right? I remember calling in and speaking about a contractor that said that he had some problems with some water. Working on a project, right? So his method was to try to block it off in the first place, right? So based on what she said, there's a the website you can look at. I think it's the
someone sent it. About two different people sent it to me today.
Partnership of Transparency, and there's a Paris Agreement. It would tell you that based on the way NAWASA being conducting themselves, they actually have a map and an outlay of all the way the water system works in it. More or less, that's why you're able to put fire hydrants and stuff. Is the same. It's the same structure Grenlec and Grentel use with a number in the poles, so they know exactly where it is. So they definitely would have a map of the topography of how the water system lays and goes, right? So
but not only that, brother Faru, this is not a situation where they're claiming it is an abandoned pipeline, you know. This is an active pipeline.
True.
This is a pipeline that had water in it that ruptured and was running water under there all the time. And that has to be treated water, most likely if it's running through a NAWASA pipeline, it would be treated water. So what they're claiming is that NAWASA did not know that this pipeline was there?
Yeah, so there's no pressure, there's no analyzing, and there's no analyzing, no pressure, nothing like that. Like they're realizing that, like how do they monitor personal homes to know like how to charge them on the bill? You understand? They have a like the way the meter runs, and they realize, okay, they're losing a certain amount of gallons, and that doesn't make sense, so they must have some problems. They would send their own people to check that. So the fact that she's incriminating them and saying that they're responsible, it's definitely something, you know, we should be looking at too. Which is another thing.
Let me, as you mentioned that, before you move to the other point, don't stick up in there, don't forget your trend of thought.
Yeah.
I remember in government, when we just came in, and we were monitoring the bills that were coming in from different entities under different ministries and so. It was recognized with one particular facility that the water bill jumped by nearly 500%. Yeah. It just jumped into thousands of dollars within 1 month. And the team went in there, the team of plumbers, and so they went in, and they went through the whole building. And brother, there was not a leaky pipe or toilet or anything in the building. You know the problem was? Between the meter and the building, there was a rupture in the pipeline there. And all the water was going down into the ground underground. And government was able to identify that because they saw between 2 months, there was this major jump.
Exactly.
You're paying just a couple hundred and you realize it gone into the thousands. And they had to sort that out. Well, I mean, immediately. Had to lock off water and sort out immediately. So to tell me that you have a situation that all this water being lost up there, and as you mentioned, water pressure isn't being affected, and all of that. I ain't believing that story.
Yeah, and these people really think people daft, bro. And they it's like Pinky and the Brain kind of scenario. A lot of people think Brain was the genius, but it's actually Pinky, yeah? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, man.
Real talk. All right. So the next thing was that with the explosion thing. Yeah. There's in my view, this administration has been weighed, measured, and still being found wanting, bro. To use more or less, because it more or less put the blame on what you call it, the police in the park, the people in the park being it. Gravel and concrete.
Yeah.
Right? So they're saying that munitions, more or less, excuse me, prepackaged explosives, right, of one stable kind, was moved through John Public on our streets, compromising the safety of every person in Grenada, from the SSU camp to the airport to the people in the surrounding communities, moving through Grenada up to where they brought it up in Telescope. Like, everybody there is compromised. The administration is telling us that they conducted this without notifying anybody, telling everybody that, okay, we should have like safety precautions just in case, because this is what we're doing. So it could have a worst case scenario, and the excuse would be like gravel and concrete made the mistake. Is that what the administration is telling us?
Well, that's what.
Is that what individuals are saying? Yeah, like clapping hands for and tonguing tables for this kind of BS. Bro, it's, as I said, I've said it many times over. It's so frustrating seeing people, individuals that I thought was like educated minds. Yeah, not seeing not having the foresight to see how all these things are implicating us as a people, how it implicates the moral standings and the mental stability of our people, the economic conditions and hardships that we're going through. I heard one of the reporters in an interview say, like, when she went up the Telescope and stuff, and she saw how people in Grenada was living. All the time we've been saying people hurting and like nobody paying attention to that. So it leads me to wonder, if it is that you guys are having first-hand experience with these conditions, how is it that your people are making these decisions that affect Grenada? If you are not in the community to see what's going on, if you are not listening to the cries of the people, how is it that you guys are making decisions that affect all of us? And the individuals that trying to rub shoulders and be body up. You telling me that you compromising yourselves? The people that telling me when I used to be on the block, I should be in church, they're the ones doing these things now. So where's the Christ-like mentality? Where's the aid?
Bro, it's a hell of a thing. But here's what.
Family, this is very sad.
I spent so much time fighting up with the phone line, I didn't even realize how much time I wasted getting that done today.
Oh, serious. Let me put somebody on. But that lady lied.
No.
People can check it up for themselves.
That's clear. All right,
yeah, the information is like. But hold on, before you run off, why is it that they keep blaming these
statutory bodies,
these utility companies and all that?
They have to put the blame somewhere. And the thing is, remember, Massa Bull, Massa Cow, the statutory bodies.
Well, they did say they opened the grounds for statutory bodies to join in, right?
Yeah, but we're saying statutory bodies. The management is selected by the board of directors, and so the board of directors is appointed by the government, is appointed by the ministers. The cabinet,
so they're still washing things, yeah?
Yeah.
Stay safe, Father.
Okay, blessed man.
Yes.
And folks, the amount of messages that I got there in between trying to get the phone line, and I didn't even realize how the time was going there. Let me see. One person asked me, hey, she's sick, where's the back road? And that is a person who lives up in Clozier. Another person is asking me, Scott, in all my years born and grown, never know of any back road. I don't know who is feeding her Nancy stories. So, yeah, so various things. And let me say, again, a special good night to the Honorable Emlyn Pear. I think she should just be wrapping up that session with the folks there in Telescope. Yeah, she should be wrapping up. Yeah, I believe she just wrapped up the session with those in Telescope. And that's the session. You see, the government went in there and they sent in gravel and concrete, and they did an assessment of what damages people may have physically. No assessment was done and no assistance was given for the emotional and psychological distress. And as Member of Parliament, the Honorable Emlyn Pear, together with Dr. Augustine Panchu, Dr. Panchu! Yeah, you know Dr. Panchu is a perennial guest. He comes on when he has time. And when the spirit move him, or when I call him, he does come on to speak to the emotional issues. Because I can tell you that it is very scary for many of the people who witnessed and heard what took place last week in the Telescope area. If rain is falling and thunder roll Some of these elderly people is like they're getting heart attack, and some of the children are still so traumatized, they're heading for under the bed and that kind of thing. They're afraid. Yeah? Even people who not little children and elderly, they hear thunder roll is like, oh gosh, they wonder if it's that thing again. Yeah? So it is scary to them. And then there's the constant anxiety. If they see a truck heading down there, is that truck going down with explosives? Are they going to blow up something down there again? Is this one going to cause more damage to us or possibly kill me? So it's the anxiety that these people are going through and that they would have to live with on a daily basis. Yeah, unless they are assured that nothing of the like will happen again. Because remember, some of these degrading explosives still remain at the SSU barracks. And the methodology for how that will be disposed has not been discussed. Me expect it to come out publicly and say, but just at least let the people know, hey, it ain't coming up there. That is all you have to say, no, it ain't coming up there. Because it's explosives. You don't want it to fall into the wrong hands, all them kind of thing. So I understand the security aspects of it, but understand the psychological aspects of it and those aspects of it where the people feel the anxiety that this can reoccur. Where people now seeing a gravel and concrete truck on the road, watching it with that kind of cutter, I wonder if that one carrying explosives, that kind of thing. So we have to be careful. Yeah? So the Honorable Emlyn Pear, she went in and she had that meeting with the folks down there, Dr. Pancho and so. Yeah, so they had that meeting down there, and that, I believe, was completed a while ago. So most likely we will be having the Honorable Emlyn Pear on with us tomorrow night. Yes, we will be having her on with us tomorrow night, and there are one or two other issues that I want to raise with her there, so hopefully tomorrow. You understand? Somebody asking me to lend them a geologist now. That girl only know Mount Granby to Guave and Tong and airport, but she will soon learn up by Maran. Why is Maran here? What to put in this thing? You can go top Clozier to Belvedere or Windsor passing Granitang. Nothing else. Yeah? Mr. Scott, tomorrow is tomorrow. They use this term because tomorrow could never reach. All right? Nice. And somebody else is messaging me, telling me somebody living there. Who is that person? Yes, let that person message me. Yeah, because the minister said they're utilizing an alternative back road, alternative route. Yeah, so let us know. 1473-440-7377. That is the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, and I think we have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Good night, good night.
Hi, good
this
night.
Your guy once again calling from the Nutmeg State.
Yes, Nutmeg State. How are you doing?
Good.
All right, good.
Okay, it's more than 8 days, 16 days. What about the oil gas thing? You know, it passed 8 days, and so the 8 days news. But anyway, that's what I call about.
Mm-hmm. No, we're rotating through issues. There are issues that come up now. There are issues that will come up now, my friend, that we definitely will have to address because they are topical. They are happening at this point in time. They're directly affecting people at this time. It does not mean that we're forgetting some of the other issues, because on a weekly basis, if you pay close attention, you'd realize that for instance, we spoke about marketing board last week. We spoke about different things last week. We bring back different issues to discuss. If there are no new developments in relation to it as well, we may bring it back. And if there's a new development, we let people know what the new development is. In this instance, there have been no new developments in relation to the oil and gas situation. There have been no new developments as far as we know. But once we know, we will be letting the nation know.
Okay, good. Now, I was listening to, I think it was GVN today, or the radio station, and on the radio station was the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Health.
Mm-hmm.
And he was quite genuine in rating the Grenada health system, giving St. George's 60%, and the other hospitals, I think, was was 85 and 90% respectively. That's Carriacou and the other one.
Carriacou you rated at 90.
Okay, right, yeah, but anyway, how though? I mean, could you explain to us what is that $100,000? Is that EC or US? I mean, $100 million that we are paying Mount Sinai. Is that for the name, or is that for what? What? And he was asked the tough question: if we cannot fulfill our obligation to what we have, how can we put our focus on what is called Polaris or Polaroid or
Project Polaris?
Yeah, and we don't have the facilities to support what we have.
Mm-hmm.
So what's our priority here? Could you explain that? And then
me, I the minister. Me, Papa moi.
No, he was quite frank and saying that they are behind. So I think that should be the focal point right now. And another issue that is pretty alarming: the backup system has to have a physical person sitting by the switch in the event that power goes.
One section, listen, I have the clips for that to play as soon as you done talk, right?
All right.
Because once the minister was there, I listened and I have my clips ready, yeah?
Okay, because good. So then I hang up and I'll...
he basically confirmed exactly what I was saying week before, that there is a problem with the generator at the hospital, that it is not switching on because electricity went last week again, Electricity went last week again, and the hospital was once again without electricity. They have been told over a year now that there is a problem with the switch. Now, there is an interface on the generator there. Nothing is wrong with the generator. The problem is with the interface and the switch. That when electricity goes, the interface recognizes electricity is gone and trips the switch so that the generator comes on and replaces the electricity that's coming from the mains. So you don't end up without electricity. That isn't working, and for a year now, they've been told that is a problem.
But the point I'm making, you have to have a live, breathing person there sitting, and somebody have to maybe shout on a loudspeaker, "Current gone," and the person flick the switch, or and now it's a hospital is a 24-hour operation. So you're gonna have people walking around the clock, and the guy cannot fall asleep. He cannot go in the bathroom, and you have to listen, "Power gone," and he flip the switch. That's what it is now.
It looked like that is what taking place from how he talk it song as that, because he didn't say persons, he didn't say personnel, he said a person. So I don't know if this person is working only 8 to 4, they're working whole night, they're working whatever. But that person probably has to sit down right outside the generator, and as you say, wait until somebody shout, "Hey, power gone, boy." No, we in Grenada, we don't say power gone, we say current gone.
All right, Sheldon, I realize I'm taking up too much time. It's 9:32. There are other people waiting to call. So I'll talk to you later.
Up to you. All right, my brother.
All right. Okay. All right, good.
Oh, God, yeah, somebody sat up outside. "Hey, current gone." Oh, goodness.
Is it safe to say that the level of emphasis and urgency that a hospital requires, because a hospital is life and death, you understand, can we safely say that we will be up to that level at the soonest time, as soon as yesterday?
Up to what level? I mean, in terms of
where we do not have to panic about if there will be a power supply interruption and so forth.
Right. So I think the most important thing is to have the automatic transfer switch kicking in automatically. So right now, what we do, we have somebody stationed, ready to flip on manually. Again, it's human resource that you have to dedicate for that purpose. So that is happening now.
So you all, that's what the caller, the Nutmeg State, was just talking about, that they have somebody now that stationed there. So that person is close to the generator. And every time power go, that person's job is to go and turn it on. All right, okay, all right. That's what they say. So they say.
In terms of
where we do not have to panic about if there will be a power supply interruption and so forth.
Right. So I think the most important thing is to have the automatic transfer switch kicking in automatically. So right now, what we do, we have somebody stationed, ready to flip on manually. Again, it's human resource that you have to dedicate for that purpose. So that is happening now. That is a sort of temporary measure that is in place to facilitate any possible outage. But the reality of the situation is that we need a comprehensive fix. So we have sourced the monitor. It should be installed by tomorrow, and other fixes that has to happen in the system. We believe that, well, I believe that by the end of this week, we should resolve completely the outstanding issues. But I can tell you for sure that the engineers, both the consultant person that we have sourced to assist us alongside Grenlec, they are working expeditiously to resolve these issues.
Because I would love to hear from a Grenlec's perspective, if there's a line dedicated to the hospital, and as I keep emphasizing, hospital is life and death. So what could have gone wrong with a committed and dedicated line to the hospital?
Well, I can't answer that. I mean, as you rightly say.
Again, yeah, just throw the blame on Grenlec. Just throw the blame on Grenlec, because they are a statutory body owned by the government. Just throw the blame on Grenlec. Go right ahead.
You should hear from Grenlec. But you remember, these are equipment. You're dealing with equipment. You're dealing with machinery. So things do go wrong.
So as the Minister of Health, there is a line that comes directly from Grenlec. It's dedicated to the General Hospital, so that the General Hospital is really and truly never supposed to have to need the generator. It is always supposed, that line is always supposed to be energized. That has not been happening. You're telling me the Minister of Health, who is responsible for the main healthcare facility on the island, is sitting on an interview and doesn't know why that line that is always supposed to be energized is having problems? So, Mr. Minister, you didn't think it important to ask a question? You couldn't ask a question and try to find out exactly why this situation exists? Why are they having that particular problem? You didn't think that is important to know? Ah, brother.
My main reason for asking you to come on the program this morning is because I was bombarded with calls for the last week of a situation where, as a matter of fact, someone said to me, people are being ventilated in ambulances because there was a power outage, and people who were on ventilators and so forth in ICU and other departments, especially ICU, had to be in an ambulance being ventilated because no power. And from a hospital standpoint, that is unacceptable. When I heard that, I'm saying, what if someone was on a life-saving or life-threatening surgery? What happens to that person? So what is that?
And as we told you on this program, from what we have heard, a newborn was lost because during a C-section that was taking place, power went, certain machinery that were being used failed, and the child died. That's what we hear. Maybe Innocent don't want to go out straight and say he hear that too. But from how he's saying what he's saying, they're innocent. You ain't so innocent to know. I feel you hear the same thing I hear too. Yeah? And that is one of the reasons that you drag the minister in there. So you have to put your face down and thing. Anyway, go ahead, Innocent. Ask him.
Situation with the power supply in the general hospital.
So this is not a laughing matter. This is extremely serious.
But is it true, firstly? Is it true?
So we've had some outages. So there is a dedicated line from Grenada that serves the hospital. And we have not been having outages in years. But we have had some outages over the past couple of weeks that on that dedicated line. Grenada, of course, they're doing their best to resolve the issue. Apart from that, we have a generator that automatically kicks in. This time around, that did not happen. So the automatic transfer switch failed. So, but not only that, the monitor failed. The monitor, there is a screen that tells you what is wrong. That screen also failed. And so we have moved expeditiously to try to resolve the matter. So we had outages for between 10 to 15 minutes from time to time. But right now, and the challenge that we faced then was that when you try to put on the generator manually, it was not going on. So we had to depend on the mercies of Grenada. And they move rather quickly to resolve the issue. Now, this is very serious. So we have called in the engineers, called in Grenada. We've, really tried our best to try to resolve the issue rather quickly, and by tomorrow hopefully that screen will be installed. We've been able to source a screen and that will be installed. Presently we've been able to get being able to now switch on manually, and it works, so that has helped immensely also. And so and
folks, remember all that he's telling you there. We told you week before that this was the situation. We also told you that Grenada was working on putting on a manual switch. So instead of having to wait for the interface, that they would have a switch there that someone could just flip on and off. We said that to you week before.
We are many steps closer to resolving that issue. And so, but let me just say, we at the Ministry of Health had commissioned an electrical audit. We have gotten the engineers to do an electrical audit, and that happened a couple months ago. So we understand now where we are in terms of
not just a couple months ago, over a year, over 1 year, you as Minister of Health and the management of the hospital have been told that there is a problem with the switch and interface on the generator, and that said problem needs to be sorted out. Now you all scrambling to do it. No.
The age of equipment, the age of the wiring in the system, and what needs to be done. So we do have that, and we have already started the process, and that's being conducted at all 3 hospitals. That is what the mission is. And so the fix has begun. I could say for Princess Alice, for example, we are about 90% complete in terms of a sort of rewiring where necessary. So in terms of heeding the recommendations from the electrical audit, we are about 90% complete at the Princess Alice. And so it's a work in progress. We always try to take a scientific approach.
Yeah, take a scientific approach. Yeah, let's hear you on another issue there one time.
If you are to rate or to grade the efficiency of the Ministry of Health, especially as it relates to the operation of the 3 hospitals and even the district clinics and so forth, give them a grade from 100, a grade between 1 to 100. Where would you put us?
So you're doing that so that I can get beaten up by the opposition.
Yeah, yeah, because believe me, you're getting beat up, eh? But it's not we that say you have to answer. Hey.
You're doing that so that I can get beaten up by the opposition, because I am a very fair-minded person. I would rate Princess Royal about, and that's Carriacou. Presently, notwithstanding that there's some deficits in some areas that we're working on, I'll rate them about 85%. I'll rate Princess Alice about 90%. In terms of
efficiency,
and so on, and they're a smaller hospital, right? So, but St. George's, I would give St. George's about 60%, and this is not to understand what I'm saying. It's easier to manage a small hospital. The larger hospital is more difficult, and I say 60%. And I want you to understand, it has nothing to do with our staff. And I keep making this statement. Our staff at the hospital, the majority, I would say about 95% of our staff, have brilliant attitudes. They're well-trained professionals. They are great at the job. Trust me when I tell you that. There is a small minority who does not have the right attitude, and who, by that, is actually bringing down the rest of the hospital. But the efficiency that we speak about has to do with a combination of human resources, the adequacy of human resources, the level of technology that is available alongside the equipment and all of that, and the actual service that is being delivered. Now, so it means that we have a long road to go to meet the expectations of people. Now, if you were to say, okay, in the circumstances, given the fact that people have to work 4 and 5 times harder than the average doctor, you can say, okay, they may be about 95% accurate, efficient. But if you remove that and you say, look, we should have adequate staff, we should have the equipment, we should have all the medication that is needed, we should have a perfect environment, you would say 60%. So in other words, it is a relative rating.
I think he kind of confused me there, but anyhow, that is just me. Folks, the phone lines are open, 1473-440-7377. Yes, and you can call us on the WhatsApp in relation to whatever he just said it, because I kind of confused anyway. Minister confusing me. Yeah, Princess Alice Hospital, 90%. The same Princess Alice Hospital that having problems with medication, problem for basic items such as, UV tubes and them kind of thing. The same. Yeah, that same Princess Alice Hospital that having issues with that. And someone just messaged me to tell me the X-ray unit at the General Hospital is down. I was hearing that, and then somebody told me, they utilized it recently. And now I'm seeing that the X-ray machine is down, so I'm not sure what the situation is. I'm not sure. Yeah, but I'm seeing that story that the X-ray unit is down. So the minister said, the man asking him that question so the opposition could beat about him. No, we have a right to know, not just the opposition, Grenadians and a whole have a right to know. Yeah, so you have to answer the question, man. Answer the question. And folks, I don't want to run out of time today, and I don't deal with a specific issue. I saw over the weekend, the consumer price index, and I like to go over the consumer price index when it comes out, for the month of April is out. And again, the story remains the same, that you continue to see increases in some various areas, and you see reductions in some areas. Now, the thing is this, to the basic household, the areas that you see decreases in, it doesn't affect them. In other words, they don't benefit from those areas. The areas you're seeing the increases in is what affects the average Grenadian out there. So when you see increases, for instance, in, let me see if I can bring it up over on the side here. I just realized I did not have it up while I was speaking. Yeah? So when you correspond with last year, right? you see increases in the following area: food and non-alcoholic beverages. Right? You're seeing food and non-alcoholic beverages is one area. You're seeing 1.27% increase. Alcohol, beverages, and tobacco, 1.30. We don't really care about that. I could go up to 1 million as far as we're concerned. Right? Clothing and footwear. In other words, remember, you've got to buy school clothes just now. Those of you who have to buy uniform, and you have to buy school uniform, you have to buy school shoes, that sort of thing, the price continues to increase. So what you pay for it, last year at this time, you're paying more for it right now, 1.61% more for the shoes and for the school clothes and the school pants and the tops and all of these sort of things. So the clothes in general is more expensive now than it was last year. Furnishing, household equipment, and routine household maintenance, that sort of thing, increased by 0.32%. Healthcare increased by 1.60%. So that's to take care of yourself, to survive, right? Nice. Transport, 1.27, and these are the broader areas. Communication, 0.13. Recreation, culture, 0.4. And education, 1.26. That's in relation to your books for school and all those kind of things. Yeah, and for those who still have to pay the school fee that they say do exist, school fees and everything, right? 1.26% increase. Restaurant and hotel, 6.85% increase. And indeed, if you're seeing an increase in certain areas, you will see an increase. People might look at restaurant and hotels and say, okay, restaurant and hotels, 6.85% increase. Then don't go to the restaurant, stay home and that sort of thing. But no, this is also being affected by things that are affecting you. When you go to the restaurant, they're using the rice at the restaurant. The price has increased in rice between last year and this year by 10.01%. Remember, rice is something that was controlled through the Marketing and National Importing Board. Now you're seeing that the cost of rice has increased by 10.01%. You're seeing restaurant and saying, well, we don't eat in restaurant. But the price here is reflective of the increase of the items here that they utilize in the hotel and the restaurant. That is why you're seeing that increase there. That is why you're seeing that. So the rice, cereals and other products, 0.64%. Bread, 0.6%. Beef, 3.69%. Pork, 1.57%. Mutton, 6.60%. Poultry, 1.16%. Deli meats, 0.82%. Fresh fish, 0.08%. Preserved fish, 0.30%. Milk has increased by 0.75%. Cheese by 0.80%. Eggs by 1.62%. Butter. All of these things have increased. Butter by 2.5%. Margarine by a little over 4%. 4.04%. Fresh fruits have increased again, and this increase continues month by quarter by quarter when we're checking, 16.14%. And so far you've heard absolutely nothing being done by the government to haul back on this cost increase in relation to fresh fruits and vegetables, because that's what people need. Look, frozen vegetables, 2.22%. So yeah, buy the ones that come into the country, but your fresh fruits and stuff, 16.14%. Preserved fruits, 1.07%. Potatoes that people use for the French fries, the mashed potato, your different thing as part of your meal, everything, 3.80%. Sugar, another item that Marketing Board used to deal with, as 0.02% increase over the period from last year to this year. Jams and honey, 2.29%. I remember I produce honey here and so as well. Other food imports, 1.46%. Coffee, tea, and cocoa products have increased by 0.62%. Water has a significant increase here of 5.22%. And that is all on the shoulders of the government, because remember, they're the ones that started taxing water. Soft drinks, and then remember water's importance in relation to the production of a lot of these other things. Soft drinks, 2.10%. Fruit juices, you need water for that, 3.25%. Rum, 1.15% rum drinkers, and to go make it out. The wine, the beer, the cigarettes, me already spending time on them thing. Men's clothing, 0.92. Children and infants' clothing have increased by 3.28%. So the socks and the boxers and the underwear, and so that you have to buy for the children for the new school term and all that kind of thing. And outside of that too, yeah, you're going to be paying 3.28% more for that. Clothing, accessory, household goods, 0.70, but pharmaceutical products for this period, 0.84%. And people who buy the medication can tell you they're seeing the increases there. Medical services. So that is things like you have to go and do a procedure, you have to go and do a checkup and those kind of things by either the doctor or the dentist and so on, 4.20%, because if the products that they have to buy and the medical equipment has an increase, then obviously it's going to drive the cost of the service up. Yeah, transportation services by air, 29.91. That's a totally different situation and discussion there. And we see in books, increased by, so outside of the uniform, outside of the shoes, outside of down to the underwear for the children, the books, the price of the books have increased by 0.26%. Pre-primary and primary education has increased by 4.03%, and the private schools, you'd find out from them that yes, there have been increases between last year and this year. And again, restaurant services, as we said, there's the increase there that is reflective of some of the increases that we've been seeing here. But when they speak about reductions in housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels and so on, those things generally, and they're saying water here, but we're seeing an increase in water here. Yeah? And they're saying these declined by 0.38% and so on. Decreases in materials or repair of dwelling. That is based on the fact that a lot of the work that had to be done in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, in the early days, people were grabbing material, so the prices went to a particular level and they dropped back down now. Yeah? And those other areas. So folks, what their own figures are telling us is that there are increases in the cost of living to the average Grenadian. That we are seeing increases in the cost of living. Yeah? So even if we decide to take a look at some selected items, for instance, rice, and we see the increases here in things like rice, we see increases in things like flour, sugar, fresh fish, yeah, potatoes, vegetables, milk, jams and preserves, and you look at the increases that we're seeing here in relation to things like that between 2025 and 2024. These are the types of increases that we're seeing in those particular areas. And the question remains, what is the government? Just about a couple weeks ago, leader of His Majesty's Opposition, the Honorable Emlyn Pear, called on this administration, in fact, I think I played that video last week, called on this administration to please address the issue of the increasing cost of living, to put measures in place to hold it down. Because you feel it when you go to the supermarket. Hearing it here and talking about the CPI, and most people don't even know CPI mean Consumer Price Index, and they don't understand, oh, they're doing this calculation and fancy thing and all that. No. What people do understand, though, is that you used to go to the supermarket and get certain amount of things for $300. And now what used to cost you $300 now costs $500 that you don't have. So things that you want, you now have to do without, because you do not have the spending power to be able to buy those things. And now, you see what the CPI is saying, and you know we're heading into, excuse me, many of the schools and so, the children who are changing schools, even the children who are continuing schools, and they need to get their new uniforms and so, and nothing has been done to restrict the cost of these things. So you have children that are going to school. I don't know some parents making it now, because some have 3 and 4 in the school system. So they have to buy how much pair of shoes and how much sets of socks and so on, and the underwear, and then the tops and the pants, and then the bags and the different miscellaneous, and the books and all these sort of things. I don't know how some parents making it. And then you're seeing a constant increase in these items. Down to the books. You're seeing an increase in all these things. So it is going to call. I would not be able to take the call because it's nearly 10. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Yeah, could I take the call a little earlier? But I'm very sorry. We wouldn't be able to take the call now. Yeah. So you're seeing the increase in these items. And it's going to be very, very difficult for a lot of parents out there. Yeah? So those who can help, help. Who you could help, help. I know a couple of years ago, what we did through Talking Points is that we ensured that we got, in fact, we gave out close to 80 bags with school books, with notebooks and pens and pencils and erasers and sharpeners and rulers and all these sort of things. We were able to give out close to 80 of those 2 years ago. I am not sure if we head in that direction this year because I ain't seen it. Honestly, I've not seen it. I know there was one good friend, Belva. There was one good friend who donated the bags. And there was another lady that donated a bag of the pencils and pens and notebooks and all those sort of things. And there was another lady in Montu who offered to donate some. I didn't get around to even getting to that lady, but she still has some there for me. She always reminds me, still has some there for me. But we were able to get a lot of these stuff together, and we were able to help a lot of children. We didn't know. We didn't go and snap a picture of us handing out bag and them kind of thing. No, we don't operate like that. But we made sure. Cami can tell you because Cami shared a lot of them out from by her. And a lot of people contacted, and we got bags to different people, down to coloring books and crayons, markers, all sort of things. We were able to do that through kind donations from listeners to the program. And then some other listeners donated, and we were able to go and buy additional notebooks and so that we were able to give. Sometimes we were able to give as much as 4 and 5 notebooks to each of the children that we were giving them out to. Just bought the books and boxes and notebooks and so, and put them together with the pencils and everything and pens and so, and gave them out. So we're not sure what is taking place this year. We'd make up our mind long before the middle of August. We'll have to make up our mind in relation to that to see if we're doing something like that similar this year. Folks, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. We're going to make it up with you tomorrow night. We're going to start exactly on time. We're going to make sure that the phone line don't cut off on us again and we have to be fighting with it. All right? So we're going to make sure that we begin on time with you because we also had a video problem earlier up. That's why it took long for me to come on. There was also a video problem that was occurring, and I didn't want to come on and have to come off and come back on, so I was fighting with that before I got on. Even though we went live, I was fighting up with that because it started happening as soon as we went live. So, folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you, and everything you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. My name is Sheldon Scott. We'll be back tomorrow night with more Talking Points for you. We should have a guest on with us. You will know by early tomorrow who that guest will be. I'll just have some confirming to do, and we'll have that on tomorrow for you. I am out. Love each and every one of you.
If you are a leader and you lead because of power, if you take away from the poor man leave them just to suffer. Oh, if your life not in line with the will of God,